Welcome everyone to this month's Alcor webinar, Make Everyone an Expert, Unlock Tangible AI Benefits for Corporate Platforms. Alcor Solutions is a global digital transformation services company serving Fortune 500, government agencies, and other leading organizations in multiple industry verticals across US, Canada, Europe, Japan, and India. Alcor advises leading businesses on cloud platforms, digital workflows, technology and robotic automation, enterprise service management, HR solutions, integrated risk management, and data and analytics. We also provide business process consulting to capture, re-engineer, and improve processes that can easily be automated to deliver real value. The Alcor consulting team has excellence in business strategy, cloud technology, and organizational change management. Alcor is a Servicenow Elite Partner, AWS Partner, and Oracle Gold Partner, and also works with PeopleReign, Azure, Salesforce, Incota, Snow Software, Tanium, and several other cutting-edge technologies. For today's webinar, Alcor partnered with PeopleReign. PeopleReign is AI-first system of intelligence to automate IT and HR's employee service requests. PeopleReign trains AI models on ServiceNow and non-ServiceNow data, supports full life cycle of a service request from virtual agents through recommendations for live agents and insights for service owners. And PeopleReign is a certified ServiceNow app. We have time reserved at the end of the webinar for Q&A, so please feel free to type any questions into the question section of the webinar dashboard. Our today's webinar is presented by Brent Knipfer, Chief Architect at Alcor, and Dan, Executive Chairman at PeopleReign. I will now turn the webinar over to our presenters.
Thank you, Nia. People demand exceptional service, and that's no surprise to any of us today. We're all expecting that consumer experience everywhere we go. This requires intelligence to automate across the entire workforce. The simple analogy is bowling. Most of us have played that sport. It's a very simple one. Just do the same thing exactly 10 times in a row, and you get rewarded with an 11th time, and you get the perfect game, 300. And that's what AI can do for us today. It can enable everyone to do the same thing the same way every time. PeopleReign and Alcor together can help you deliver on that promise to accomplish the business outcomes you're focused on. What are those business outcomes that are possible? Well, the art of the possible could be 2.8 increase in revenue, a 40% less turnover in employees, a 4 times profit increase, and a 12% productivity increase across your employee base. These are results of a study here, you can see referenced on the slide, for companies who focus on employee experience, who are willing to invest in user experience to accomplish great customer experience. So you too can unlock tangible AI benefits across your corporate platforms. And what we mean by that is platforms, a few platforms to run your entire company across the spectrum of operations there. Finance, IT, HR, legal, facilities, and many more, including the core business you may be delivering in retail or manufacturing. User interactions are expensive and their efforts are intensive. This has been documented for many years by Help Desk Institute and others. We find an average cost per ticket of $22 a ticket when it's facing out to the business, and 2.5 hours average time to resolve each ticket. Today, we see many channels of interface, the phone, email, mobile, self-service portals, but we know when service is not good, there are many other channels that are happening. Shoulder taps, just ignoring asking because I know I'm not going to get the service I want. Chatting or texting across the organization that are undocumented. The lowest cost per ticket I've ever seen, internal mandated service, is $8 a ticket. So it's still very expensive no matter what your baseline may tell you. PeopleReign supports an intelligent service lifecycle. So when you bring in the ability for AI to empower people to make everyone an expert, you can get 45% reduced calls by using the virtual agent. That's true call deflection. $3 average cost per ticket. So at the lowest rate, you're taking out $5 per ticket. Get down to 15-minute time to resolve where AI is applied and used. And 38% lower mean time to resolve issues when you bring in the additional classify and recommend automation modules of PeopleReign. Now I'll turn this over to Dan Turchin. He's going to take us through the 4 modules of PeopleReign.
Thank you, Brent. We so value this partnership with Alcor. We feel very strongly that every Servicenow customer globally should have access to AI-first, world-class implementation and delivery resources. And that's been the benefit of our team at PeopleReign being able to partner up with Brent and his team at Alcor. We founded PeopleReign with a very simple vision. We think that life should be better for every employee who's ever had to call the help desk. We believe that the way employees get IT and HR service needs to be better. And we think that for the next billion employees, it will be, thanks to fully automated solutions like PeopleReign. I'm going to talk you through what it means when we talk about owning the life cycle of an employee service request. Now, unlike alternatives out there, maybe just standalone chatbots or knowledge solutions, only PeopleReign provides tooling for every key persona across the life cycle of the service engagement. And I'll give you an example by talking through these 4 key applications on the PeopleReign platform, what I mean. So first off, PeopleReign provides a virtual agent designed for the employee. So the employee enters a conversation with the virtual agent via voice, text, mobile, desktop, service portal, any channel where the employee would otherwise go to be able to get support. They're now going to go and interact with the virtual agent. So for example, they can ask it, about my PTO balance or tax forms, or what's the refresh cycle on my laptop, or why can't I get into the CRM application right now? And most of the time for common questions, the virtual agent is going to come back instantly with the right answer. In some cases, when what the employee needs is some action to be taken, add me to a distribution list or get Brent on the Wi-Fi network, it will go ahead and take those actions. Other times, it will provide an answer to a question using what we call a knowledge graph. So the knowledge graph aggregates all of the knowledge content from around the enterprise, whether that's in Servicenow or in SharePoint or a wiki, or maybe it's on the public web. So most of the time, the virtual agent is going to be sufficient to resolve the employee's service request end to end. Next slide. Now, in the case where the virtual agent, for whatever reason, isn't sufficient, or maybe the employee just wants a live agent on the line, nobody's penalized. So unlike alternatives that are just a chatbot, when the employee decides they want to escalate to a live agent, they can very easily. In that case, Classify, the routing application from PeopleReign, takes over. And Classify will automate the process of filling in all the key fields in the task and getting it to the right agent. And that live agent may be selected by PeopleReign based on their geography or their skill set or their accuracy solving related problems in the past. All of that is automated using state-of-the-art AI built into Classify and sitting on top of the PeopleReign platform. Now, Classify is going to provide all the key information to resolve this issue in a very efficient way, and it's going to hand off to the third application on the PeopleReign platform, and that's called Recommend. Next slide. Recommend is essentially a treasure map that tells the live agent what to do next to minimize the time it takes to resolve the issue. So the subject of this webcast is make everyone an expert. Well, this takes essentially your most novice resource in the call center and makes them an expert with AI. Because before they need to go outside of the ticket or the task to do some research or to find an answer, it's staring them right in the face. Like you see in these screenshots, The knowledge graph pulls from any data source around the enterprise and populates the ticket interface with a set of recommendations. Here are the actual next steps to take to minimize any kind of service impact to the employee. So making the life of the employee better with AI, but also making the life of the live agent better with AI. Make everyone an expert. Next slide. The third key persona is the service owner. And for the service owner, PeopleReign provides Insights. And Insights is an app that looks across all of the automated interactions across that service lifecycle, from the virtual agent to classify to recommend, and provides predictive intelligence. What's about to happen based on the pattern of questions or issues that has been occurring recently. For example, a spike like you see here on the bottom left of incidents on a Monday morning related to, let's say, access to the Wi-Fi network may be an indication of a lot of passwords expiring. And in order to kind of dampen that spike, what we might want to do is provide self-service, better self-service guidance about how to reset an expired password. In fact, wouldn't it be nice if through AI and through automation, we could proactively push out the request to do a password reset or a reauthentication because we anticipate this spike will occur. That kind of predictive intelligence fed by interactions in the virtual agent, classify and recommend, are what you should expect from a true AI-first system of intelligence. That's the value of PeopleReign. That's the future of work. Brent, back to you.
Thank you very much. We're going to go over to a demo now, and we're going to show you how the virtual agent can make everyone an expert.
I thought we'd have a little fun, and we'll have a little fun with the virtual agent. I want to just take you through some kind of typical use cases that all validate exactly the principles that I've been talking about, but again, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So first off, I talked about the benefits of omni-channel access to the virtual agent. So like I was sharing in the screenshot just a minute ago, this virtual agent's available as a mobile app. It can listen via an email channel, voice, SMS. In this case, we are going to be interacting with it via a widget embedded in a Servicenow service portal. So first it's going to greet me. So I'm logged in as an admin named Anna Eng. For those that might be Giants fans, homage to our friend Anna Eng. The virtual agent is going to greet me in a customized way. So this is a non-branded virtual agent. It has some PeopleReign branding, but you can introduce your own carousel of greetings options. In this case, something fairly generic. I'm your PeopleReign virtual agent. Ask me anything, and in fact, I can. So let's start with something that is pretty common. Wouldn't it be nice if your virtual agent could eliminate the need to do password resets via tickets or via the phone? So let's ask it to reset my password. Let's see if it understands that. Okay, that was pretty fast. So in this case, I want to point out a couple things. So this virtual agent understands who I am. So it comes back and says, not just, here's a link to the password reset portal. That wouldn't be very helpful. Instead, it says, I verified you. So it knows me, like the smartest like the smartest live agent. You were locked out due to too many incorrect login attempts. I've sent a PIN to your mobile device. I actually did just get a PIN request. Just so you know, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but I got the PIN. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the PIN. So now we're in a password reset flow. So that's literally the PIN that I was just sent. So it says, please enter it. I enter it. Thanks for providing your PIN. So I provided the right PIN. I sent a temporary password. I just got the message. And there it is. There's my temp password. No smoke and mirrors. And that's a screen describing what I was just sent. So pretty intelligent experience. I'm gonna say thanks. That's pretty good. So there you have it. We just eliminated maybe a third of your ticket queue, but it gets better. So let's say another simple example, just to show you things that are common. I've just got a problem, or I have an incident, and let's say I'm stuck because I can't get on Wi-Fi, and so I just want to create a ticket. And it would be nice if I could just create a ticket interactively like this and not have to figure out how to create a ticket in the portal and do a bunch of clicks. If I could just do it conversationally. So let's see if I just ask it. Okay, so again, it's natural language. It understands the language of IT and HR, so it knows what a ticket is. So what's my ticket about? Let's say Wi-Fi connection error from the lobby of floor 3. So I just describe my problem. Again, this is what you'd expect from the smartest experience. Go ahead and create a ticket. So that was pretty quick. It came back with this ticket, gives me a link to it. Just so you know, no smoke and mirrors. I'll go ahead and click on it. So there, in fact, is that ticket. A couple things I'll point out. So PeopleReign is monitoring this ticket. So that's an application called PeopleReign Classify. And it came back and classified that it's correctly assigned to subcat, managed Wi-Fi LAN, assignment group network. So just like you'd expect, this is PeopleReign recommend down here. If it had recommendations about how to fix that, it would provide them. But in this case, instantly got the ticket. I can now go and work the ticket. Let's say, now I'm kind of in the persona of the admin. I'm supporting Anna. So whatever, I can now have a chat, and all of this chat is being funneled through the virtual agent. So that's the nice thing. So now if I go back to the virtual agent and maybe, a few minutes have gone by, I get the link to the ticket. What was that? I think it was 11347. So I can ask just in plain language, any words I want. I didn't need to put in the full address, and here we go. Now we can see the latest comment that was just added. So pretty efficient, right? Now let's say, as is often the case, I don't know the ticket number. I don't even know the suffix of it. Maybe I just want to ask for all my tickets. So yet again, pretty straightforward experience. In this case, Anne as an admin has a bunch of tickets. Here's actually the most recent one that Anna submitted. But just like that, I can navigate my way through anything that's in a service portal, anything that's in the service catalog, anything that's in the knowledge base, and I do it all conversationally. So let's talk through a couple of examples that are more in the realm of knowledge management. So I've got questions. Again, I mentioned 55% spike since February. You got a lot of employees, 70% are scared to go back to work, so they're going to have common questions. Let's see, something's on a lot of employees' minds: when will my office reopen? And again, one of the things you'll find is that if the virtual agent doesn't know, it knows what it doesn't know. So I'm not sure if this is a question it can answer or not, but we'll see if it has a good answer. And this is all subject to a confidence threshold. Okay, so in this case, that was something you'd understood. Here looks like a good knowledge article. We're reopening one office every 2 weeks. Great answer. Here's a link to the portal about our return to work policies. So that was pretty helpful. But let's say even in a broader case, I don't even know what to ask. I just want to understand what's going to be different about work or something. I just want to say, kind of, help me navigate through what I need to know about COVID-19. And as is often the case, even though it's a conversational interface, a lot of questions that employees will ask are going to be fairly broad. Oftentimes they'll treat it like a search engine. So one of the things that's important is, even when we call these utterances, even when the request from the employee is very vague or ambiguous, you want to make sure that the virtual agent either knows that it doesn't have a good answer, or maybe provides multiple solutions that can help guide that employee down a path to answer a question they didn't even really know how to articulate. So in this case, let's see what happens. There's probably multiple things related to COVID-19. So this is very helpful. So in this case, it says, it's pretty vague. Here are the 3 most common topics related to COVID-19. So what to expect, returning to the office, what's our work from home policy. So maybe I say, oh, what I really meant is, I'm interested in, getting reimbursed for, my home office expenses. So I can go ahead and click on that. And here's a summary based on, that menu of COVID-19 content that goes through what's going to change when I return to work. So those are some typical kind of issues that are going to account for that spike in ticket volume. Talk about a great way to lop off the top 40, 50, 60% of your tickets. That's your virtual agent. That's what you can expect from an intelligent virtual agent. Not just the kind of conversational interaction, but actually deflecting calls, actually resolving issues, actually ordering stuff, actually routing, actually doing intelligent recommendations of next best actions to live agents. That's what a virtual agent experience should look like. So speaking of ordering items, let's see if, so I mentioned that an intelligent virtual agent should speak the language of your employee. So let's see what happens if I request something, only, let's say I barely speak conversational Spanish. So that's I'm gonna fall back on my limited Spanish, but let's say I need a new phone and I choose to ask in my not really, but my broken second language of Spanish. So I say, necesito un teléfono móvil nuevo. Any native speakers can correct me, but I think I got that right. So I need to order a new mobile phone. So wouldn't it be nice if the virtual agent could go and retrieve relevant content? If it's there in my native language, great. If it's not, wouldn't it be really nice if it could return it in any language that there is about ordering? In this case, I'm asking for I need a new mobile phone. And that's pretty cool. So it actually understood that when I was asking for a new mobile phone in Spanish, it was able to come back with a process for ordering a mobile phone. Apparently there was not content in Spanish. So, for whatever reason, the organization hadn't translated their content to Spanish, but at least I can proceed with this flow. So it says, and again, it knows me. So you're eligible for a new device on or after August 1. You can select it from a list of supported Android. So it looks like I get two choices, an Android or an iPhone. In your region, either carrier is supported. This is a pretty intelligent experience, right? These are all questions that would typically generate additional calls, additional follow-up questions. Well, they don't now. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and select the iPhone and ask me to continue. Okay, so this is a smart form. So these are all the details that it needs to gather in order to order me my phone. Only in this case, because it understands context, who I am, my current device, it took into account my iPhone selection, it's able to actually pre-populate the most common responses and say, even, do you want it delivered to your cube? That's a pretty good experience. Obviously, if I have more questions, I can always create a ticket and engage a live agent, but just like that, in a non-English native language, full interaction to the point where I could order a cell phone in whatever that was, 2-3 clicks. That's what you can expect from an intelligent virtual agent. I'll go through one other example. I think you start to get the point that you can ask it questions, you can submit incidents, you can manage your incidents, you can order goods and services. Let's see one other kind of typical example. Say, some people call it Office 365. I just know it as O365. So let's see if it understands that. One of the things I want to demonstrate, that's pretty nice. So the content in the knowledge article happens to be about Microsoft Office 365. But one of the benefits of a virtual agent being, what I said earlier, is domain aware, is that it understands that O365 is a lot like Microsoft Office 365. In fact, they're synonyms. So I can ask it in natural language, whatever I need, and it's gonna go and by kind of comparing my utterance in natural language to this kind of web of concepts that it understands related to IT, HR, et cetera, it's able to actually pull up a relevant recommendation. So that was a great experience. And lastly, I'll show you, if I just kind of want to close the conversation, I can say thanks, and you'll see how you can configure this virtual agent to have any kind of personality. You can brand it. Again, I'm showing you a version that's kind of the generic version, lightly PeopleReign branded, dropped into a service portal, but you specify the branding. In this case, let's see if it understands a closing. So this is kind of cool. So this configuration has this fun facts feature turned on. So I say thanks. It says glad I could help. It acknowledges that I was ending the conversation, and it provides me with, from a carousel of facts. Here's a little bit of takeaway knowledge about blue whales. I, in fact, did not know that, so I learned something from interacting with the virtual agent. Turns out a blue whale's tongue can weigh more than an elephant. So anyway, you can have some fun with your virtual agents. This is all configurable. The AI behind it is configurable. The user experience is configurable. But most important, this delivers a user experience that increasingly is what your employees expect. So they expect that conversational fluency. They expect that when they get support from a virtual agent, it's going to be at least as good or hopefully better than the traditional support they would get from a live agent. Your live agents are going to appreciate this because having AI behind the trouble ticket, the task, makes them smarter. It reduces their MTTR. It increases the likelihood they're going to get their bonus. When we talk about AI-driven automation making humans smarter, and when we talk about AI-driven automation being the future of work, this is what we're talking about. I want to pause there for a second. I mentioned we have a good partner in Alcor Solutions that's been supporting our journey and has helped us with today's webcast.
Thank you, Dan. So we want to provide you one client reference here. This is a place where I work as a global solution architect, managing a Servicenow-centric platform with PeopleReign for over 3 years. And here's the platform owner, Joe Eagle, saying, we turned the PeopleReign recommend on, and within weeks, it automated the manual processes of routing tickets. And they documented a savings of $3 million in just the first year. And they've got bigger plans noted here to fully use all these modules of PeopleReign that Dan did a great job of explaining to us. And many of you may realize, but just to make it clear, McDonald's literally serves the equivalent of every human on the earth every 100 days. So that's what we mean here when it says billions more can be served thanks to AI, providing better service for that very unique organization franchised across the world. So this automation can improve their operations, not just in the office, but where they're focusing more and more towards the restaurants. So PeopleReign is a system of collaboration. It is a system that's going to bring decisions that experts have defined so that everyone can use them. They become experts by leveraging that. And it is a system of record. It can federate out to any data source, aggregate that information, and know what piece of content to deliver to which persona. So this shared service platform is where intelligence works. It's how the world of work is changing before our very eyes today. It's going to become mainstream. It's a board of director mandate these days. It's on most performance plans of every C-level executive. It's an opportunity for all of you to become heroes in your own organization as you focus on adoption and utilization. So what is the success plan to make everyone an expert? It really can boil down to these 3 phases. Plan well. We all know that the more you spend on planning, the better results you'll have. Focus on deployment to those personas to create the most outcome value, and then realize that it's an ongoing improvement. It is really a living, breathing ecosystem where everyone is a knowledge expert. Everyone is empowered to help improve the knowledge, but once it's captured by this AI engine, it becomes available to everyone. So make sure that when you're doing the planning, you focus on good candidates. We're going to talk about a way, an approach to do that over and over in a iterative cycle. Make sure you're deploying to the right people for the right reasons, and then realize there are many ways to monitor this to facilitate improvement, so that becomes part of your culture. So here's an example of that improvement cycle to make everyone expert. It really has just 4 parts to it. Looking at the history you have, whether that's tickets or data repository of transactions of some kind, or maybe it's a matter of creating those set of phrases that are commonly used, for instance, bringing in your language from your company. So you're going to take that data, and we have found a way, rather than tens of thousands of records or a year of data, you can take experts, those best people, look at that data, clean it up until it's perfect, then run your data model on that. So that's what I mean by the second part, people QA in your tickets, really your absolute human experts. And then you run the PeopleReign model against all of your data. And when you get to an actual transaction, PeopleReign then is going to complete it where it's high confidence or recommend it within a range of confidence to your users. The last part is for every person to actively participate, interact with the PeopleReign AI modules, giving them thumbs up, thumbs down, rating them, and that enables the AI engine to get smarter and smarter as it works. And when we mean run the cycle again, what we mean is look at the next area that's going to help you. So focus over here on the classic questions. If you want to write a great novel, who, what, when, where, why, and how. So we give some examples. Many times people start there in the middle. You see phase one, they'll start with their configuration items and their knowledge articles. So you make sure that you know what was the root cause configuration item for what people were asking about, and then what was the right solution. But next, you may focus on scheduling work according to urgency or impact. So people are working on the right things, the most important things. And then a third phase around this loop, you may focus on problems, their priority to work on, get to those root causes, the permanent fixes to eliminate incidents forever, or maybe automated resolutions so that we already know the answer. We don't even need to involve a person and just present the solution or get the right solution to a correct fulfiller so they can do the work on behalf of the end user. So if you do this correctly, you'll see over here on the right, on the left side, you should be getting to somewhere around 30% of your ticket volume is provided by self-service, do-it-yourself ways to complete it. About 40% more can be done in first contact with your service desk or first contact with the right group it's routed to. And then only 30% requires a human to actually interact and do work that only they can do in order to resolve that issue for the person or to fulfill that request. So value assurance is what we're all after, and we can provide that for everyone who implements or wants to make everyone an expert with PeopleReign. How do we do that? Alcor is the only partner certified to offer, implement, and support PeopleReign. PeopleReign drives digital transformation by delivering intelligence at the center of work. And we can take you along that journey, offering our expertise and help you accelerate and learn how to create that continual improvement environment in your place of work. People can now, your people, can focus on difficult, unique, and innovative micro moments using what, their intelligence for only what humans can do. And to focus on the value, I just want to highlight Alcor provided the platform architect role, and we were able to help a global quick serve restaurants achieve 2 million minutes of service desk savings, reducing call handle time by 8 minutes a ticket. And our deep platform expertise goes across a platform that can create great value for you, a Servicenow-centric platform, cloud-based, that has the effective right-size managed services and automation with PeopleReign embedded. Together, these become a force multiplier to magnify client outcomes. So now we'd like to focus on what you can do. We have 3 starter packs available through the end of the year. They're good for a 12-month license, available to those who've attended this webinar, and provides an 80% discount. And you can contact Alcor there at the contact information at the bottom that's available. Please reach out to us. Back to you, Nia.
Thank you, Brent and Dan. What an insightful webinar. So there are a few questions that I'll get to you in a moment. As a reminder, please use the question section to ask a question on today's topic. So Brent, the first question that we have here is, how much human effort is required to develop and maintain the AI?
Well, we have drastically reduced that, as Rajat highlighted. Instead of having to have a year's worth of data or 10,000 records, well, we are able to work with your real subject matter experts in a very defined area of value and look at as little as 250 tickets, or focus in on your existing knowledge articles, the content, wherever it may be, where it's at today. So we're going to take out the effort to migrate data, to deal with legacy knowledge in multiple places and get it to a central place. You don't have to do that with PeopleReign and our approach. And we're going to deal with a specific set of fields, get those set of tickets to have exactly perfect answers, then run the data model. And finally, we're going to work with you on the change journey, get you going quickly, and then help with the adoption utilization so that the people who are actually looking at the answers, whether it's self-service or people who are resolving tickets, are communicating, are collaborating with PeopleReign in real time, telling us that that was helpful or not helpful. Next question, Nia.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. So another question we have here is, how is PeopleReign different than the ServiceNow virtual agent?
I'll let Dan highlight some of those. We have put together a top 10, and we can just highlight a few here.
Sure, I'm happy to help out. Let me start by saying, for everyone that was excited about seeing that demo, perhaps it's a blessing in disguise. If you contact Tom from Alcor, you see his contact information on the screen. We'd be happy to schedule a live, custom, personalized demo for you. And we'll also be following up with you, as Brent mentioned, everyone who's on today's webcast. Now, in terms of the ServiceNow virtual agent versus PeopleReign, vastly different approaches. So I mentioned in my remarks, kind of PeopleReign represents the fusion of machine and human intelligence. And so every step of the way, PeopleReign was designed to be able to automate the full life cycle of the service request. So it makes the employee smarter, it makes the live agent smarter, it makes the service owner smarter. And when we thought about the right way to apply AI to the service lifecycle, we thought beyond some of the limitations of the ServiceNow virtual agent. There's no need for manually scripting dialogues. It understands about 1 million IT and HR related questions or concepts. Those are all pre-configured. It continuously learns based on the ways that employees ask questions. There aren't limitations on how much data is required to train the models. The kind of control plane that you have access to as a PeopleReign user allows essentially any business user to operate at the level of a traditional data scientist. So you have lots of levers and gauges to be able to tune the models. For example, if we want the virtual agent to be more confident before making a recommendation or proposing a solution, you have a lever that you can turn that will show you if I require a lower confidence by the virtual agent, how many additional answers will I be making or proposing to employees? So this kind of end-to-end thought process around how do you infuse intelligence into every stage of the service lifecycle for employees requesting HR and IT service, it's a fundamentally different architecture without some of the limitations. Another one of which I'll mention is that the knowledge graph, which feeds the Recommend app that I mentioned earlier, that's populated by data that can come from within ServiceNow or external sources, whether that's databases or wikis or intranets or chat transcripts or information on the public web. So really kind of fusing that machine learning with the best intelligence from humans to be able to reduce the time to administer the virtual agent while delivering the highest percentage of calls deflected. That's what PeopleReign uniquely does. And we think that, for any organization that is thinking about benefiting from the value of AI at kind of enterprise scale, I think ServiceNow is a good partner, if PeopleReign would agree. That's probably better left to the domain of PeopleReign.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dan. So another question from the audience is multi-language supported?
The answer to that is absolutely yes, and a couple of ways, right? So one is the information that's available, as many languages as you have that information available, PeopleReign will provide it back in the language that the person is talking in the virtual agent. The second is, if the person, whatever the language is, the person is raising their natural questions in the virtual agent, let's say it's Portuguese or Spanish, PeopleReign will recognize that and it will go find the content. And if the content is still only in English, it will present that back in English, but it will have understood what the person's asking in their native language. There are additional capabilities that can be certainly added using powerful tools like Azure Cognitive Services. So there are many ways to internationalize the solution.
Great, thanks, Brian. Next question we have here is, how is the AI maintained once implemented?
Well, this is where, you know, like akin to monitoring a social media channel, you do need and want to have the business owners, the service delivery owners, subject matter experts in the area facilitating, right? And that's why the Insights dashboard is powerful, because it will give you direction on where to apply the most help. But simplistically, there are just really a few things to do. You want to pay attention to the snippets. Those are the words and the phrases that people are using. You may have some terminology in your company. We can preload those, you know, all the acronyms and language that your company speaks as an accelerator, and that may change over time. You have the utterances or common things that essentially meta tags that tie to all the content. Those need to be consistently, you know, reviewed and looked at. And of course, as you bring in new content that you want to expose and become part of what people have access to, you'll need to tie these together. Those snippets, those words, those utterances, and then the great thing is continue to encourage people, monitor who's using, who's responding, who's selecting high confidence recommendations, encouraging that behavior, and ask everybody to keep fine tuning the system, right? By giving it thumbs up, thumbs down, rating. That way the engine is continually tuning. So really everyone participates in improving the accuracy of what the robot or the artificial intelligent engine is doing to make all of us an expert.
Great, thanks, Brent. Another question we have here is, what analytics are offered? Uncover knowledge gaps?
Dan, would you like to pick up that? Highlight some of the key widgets and dashboards already available in Insights?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about the Insights dashboard. So there's a data science workbench where the system administrator goes to configure how the AI provides recommendations and predictions. And then there's Insights, which is the predictive analytics dashboard. It's a set of composable dashboards, role-based, and I guess to the attendee's question, one of the key widgets that can be dragged and dropped into a dashboard is what we call knowledge gaps. And so this is a great application of AI to be able to assist the knowledge management process. So as we all know in the space, nobody is satisfied with the maturity of their knowledge content. In fact, oftentimes it's obsolete the day it's been published. AI, on the other hand, ensures that that content can be continuously updated. And in the case of the knowledge gaps report, what PeopleReign does is actually provide insights into what's the right content that should be authored to be able to deflect a higher volume of calls. So in real time, the knowledge manager or the first line agents can see what's being asked, but more importantly, what's being asked for which there's not a sufficient answer in the existing content. So on a continuous basis, there's always kind of this running list of gaps in the content. Now, other important widgets are things like MTTR. So in real time, the PeopleReign MTTR widget will show examples of which users are reducing their MTTR most effectively. So you essentially get a leaderboard showing what are the right attributes or the behaviors of the most effective first call agents. So you're essentially getting all of the widgets that I described earlier when I was describing Insights, but two that are in addition to what we discussed earlier are the MTTR widget and the knowledge gaps report, and both are again available to any dashboard for any user of any role in the Insights app.
Thanks, Dan. So as a reminder, I just request all the attendees to submit their questions in the question section, if any. So another question we have here is, what kind of expertise or capability will be required to maintain a system after the initial implementation?
Well, that alluded to earlier, it's actually very straightforward. It's just a matter of new content that you make available. If you update existing content, that pretty much will be taken care of. But if you have a net new knowledge base or new service that comes into the company, then those, the set of information will need to be indexed, so to speak. So you'll have again, what are the phrases that people might be using in the chat to talk that would give you guidance to get to that content, and you have a way to tune that to make the relationships and even tune up the strength or down the strength. But a lot of that happens just with people using the system. If they actively use it, the system will get smarter and smarter. And then, of course, your ticket history, the same thing. The more activity you have on your incidents, requests, problems, the higher the confidence levels are going to be on where the resolution is. So that is somewhat self-tuning. But an active active use of the Insights dashboard, as Dan pointed out, is going to point you to the areas where the amount of time and roles you have to monitor this are applied in the best way.
Thanks, Brent. And the last question that we have here is, so again, I would say, if any questions, please feel free to type in. The question is there a minimum historical data requirement to support and train the AI?
There is always going to be a minimum, but it's going to reflect right away in the confidence level of the answers. As we pointed out, we believe that if you take about 250 tickets, for instance, if you're going to try and route work correctly, cases or tickets, if you take about 250 in a targeted category or area, and you take the best people you have or best person and go through those 250 tickets and make all the data fields perfect by having an expert go through them, then run the AI model, you will get a good data model on those 250 tickets, and you'll be able to apply that data model to all the tickets. And we believe that is a minimum that will allow you to get effectively started. And by effectively started means that when you're trying to create a new ticket and you've targeted those 4 or 5 fields, say configuration item, knowledge article, business service, and the assignment group, it will present to you recommendations at confidence levels of about 80% and higher.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brent. So we will just wait for another minute if we have any question, else we can wrap it up.
We want to thank everyone for attending, and we are here, easy here to make contact with us and information on this slide, and we look forward to engaging with you to help all of your people become experts.
Definitely. So thanks everyone for joining, and we are looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you so much.